Hello there, and welcome to this little off-the-cuff little video thing. So, I stream Imperator fairly frequently over on Twitch. There's a link in the description. And today, while I was streaming, I was asked on my thoughts about Imperator being canned. This is not new. I have been asked this probably every single stream since the news broke about it. However, I was also asked about my thoughts on Johan, who was the game director for the creation of Imperator and who is now back to being game director on EU4 and heralded over the Leviathan debacle. And I thought my thoughts off the cuff, a verbal vomit of all of my ideas and such regarding both of those two topics probably could be made into a video on its own, so that instead of me repeating myself the next time I inevitably get asked this, I can just link to this video. So here you go. Enjoy my thoughts on Imperator being canned and also on Johan Andersson. Yeah, enjoy. Playing it. No, but I of course wish that it wasn't the case, that it had been cancelled. Yeah, I think we just stick down military. Like I said, the fact is the player there wasn't enough of a player base. That is undeniable. As much as we like the game, it's undeniable there wasn't a huge amount of people playing it. I think there are things that Paradox could have done to increase the player base that they didn't do, especially around the time of 2.0's release. I feel like the level of marketing around it was not good enough. I feel like they had a few people, a few what's called YouTubers doing little reviews for it, 20 minutes video each. Or something along those lines, and I don't think that wasn't enough. I think there should have been a dev clash. I think there should have been a big multiplayer dev clash. There should have been a multiplayer over a weekend. Have something like what just happened with Stellaris, a multiplayer event with a bunch of YouTubers playing the game, instead of it being a case of people what am I trying to say? Instead of it having a case of people being able to believe that, oh, you don't actually like the game, Paradox just paid you to make a review of it. Instead, it would be, I can see you enjoying playing the game over a long period of time. There's less editing involved, so you can't really hide opinions. And I think that if there was a big multiplayer game that was streamed on the Paradox channel, simultaneously streamed on the Paradox channel with commentators and simultaneously streamed on all of the participants' channels, I think it would have built up a bit of hype about the game, and there wouldn't be so few people playing it. I think that people would have played it a bit more. What do I think of Johan? I think he's a lovely man. I've met him. I obviously did the interview with him at PDXCon 2019, and he bought me a beer, and we're friends. I think when he was making Imperator, he took the wrong lessons from the resulting success of EU4. I also went to ParadoxCon in 2018, when DDR Jake was the game director of EU4, and everyone that he met during that PDXCon, he asked them, give me one suggestion for EU4, and you've got 60 seconds to pitch me that question, and that's it. And he'll give his response to it. So basically everyone had 60 seconds to pitch him an idea. And my suggestion, I was big into Mayo and taxes at the time. My suggestion was a POP system. Surprise, surprise. And that instead of development, because even back then I thought development was complete shit. And gave him my 60-second pitch about instead of having click a button, get more development, whatever the fuck development means, instead development would be a number that changes dynamically based on the amount of population and the infrastructure you've built there. I don't care if you disagree, it is an objectively better system than what EU4 currently has. And his response is something I won't forget. His response was that the ethos of EU4 was click button, get reward. Instant gratification was desirable, and that's what they wanted to push. Click button, get reward. Feed the players some endorphins about, I clicked a button and I got cappy shit, yay. And that was, I think, probably the time that I first started to pull away from EU4 being the game that I liked. Because, like I said, I've got 5,000 hours in EU4. In the past year, probably only like 100 in the past year, but 5,000 total. Because I just do not play the game anymore. I don't enjoy the game anymore. And I think, yeah, so that system of instant gratification is what EU4 was all about back in 2018. And it was successful. EU4 was massively successful. It had a healthy player base. People were still buying DLCs. Everything was going good for it. There were certain things that I personally didn't like, and I looked to mods to fill that gap. But yeah, it's undeniable that, instant gratification, click button, get reward, was working in EU4. So when Johan made Imperator, it makes sense that he would have looked at EU4, saw what was working, the click button, get reward, and ported it into Imperator, and made it even more click button, get reward. Clearly, this was a mistake. And it was very clearly, quickly a mistake. And it's one that he fixed. People forget that Johan is the guy that put up a Twitter poll saying, do you like mana? Do you like the click button, get reward? Do you like these systems? And he was the one who looked at the result of the poll and radically changed the game. Of course, Arheo was instrumental during 1.2 as well. He's the one that came up with the differences between cities and settlements, for example. That was Arheo. But when it comes to population, when it comes to population migration, when it comes to their assimilation, their conversion, their growth, all of these systems, this was all Johan. A lot of the Imperator devs were on their summer holidays, and Johan was there pumping out, on his own whim, dev diary length posts about, here's the changes I made over the weekend. And to the point where the other devs were unable to keep up with him because, they're working on their own stuff, he's working on his stuff, and he's pushing this as, this is now the game, this is what the game is going to be, and the other devs are still working on the assumption that the previous version was what the game was. So it's like two parallel lines that needed to be mashed together. People forget that Johan was instrumental in 1.2, which remains the most impressive patch, the most impressive turnaround that any Paradox game has ever had. So what do I think of Johan? I think he's a lovely guy, he's incredibly talented, and he does not even remotely deserve a fraction of the hate that he gets. He's a damn good developer. That's what I think of him. I like him. And if Paradox is going to make EU5, I want Johan to be the guy that helms it. Because Johan is the guy that has learned the lessons, the harsh lessons, the hard way on what to do in, when it comes to mana, when it comes to population. He's learned those lessons. Imperator's Pops, the original version, was originally going to be a DLC or an update alongside a DLC for EU4. Development was going to be scrapped and turned into Pops. And the reason that it wasn't is because they felt that a big change that way through the life cycle of EU4 was too much. So it got scrapped. But clearly they thought it was an improvement, and then they put that improvement into Imperator, and then when they saw that that wasn't exactly what people wanted, they made it fucking amazing. Like, this pop system is amazing. It works perfectly. So if EU4 is going to be made, I want the guy that's learned the lessons on how to do a pop system, on how to do a mana system. I want that guy to be the one that's doing it. I don't want somebody who's going to have to learn those lessons themselves. Johan's already learned it. And I think the problem with EU4 right now is not Johan. The problem with EU4 is it is fucking bloated, and it is a corpse that is being kept alive, and it shouldn't be. It needs to die so that EU5 can be made and it actually be a good game, because right now EU4 is not a good game. This Imperator is a fucking good game. The best version of EU4 imaginable right now is one where a modder has a fucking shit ton of free time and makes a mod for Imperator that brings the map into 1444. That's the best version of EU4. Because EU4 right now is not a good game. EU5 could be, if all the lessons learned in Imperator are applied there. And that's my rant. I should probably clip all that and just put it in a video on itself. And lo and behold, I did. That was this video. So I hope you found that rant interesting, or answers any questions you have about my thoughts on this whole situation. Yeah, that's it. Go watch my Twitch sometimes when I stream. Links in the description. I hope to see you over there. Toodles.